These are tough people. This is not easy or it had already been done. Hans Heinrich Andersen personally manages 16 different wind farms in 16 different villages, all of which are owned by people in the community. He's just the manager. He's just a businessman. They own it. And now they're planning their own transmission line. They didn't go to Aon or Preussen Electra or Electricité de France and say, could you build us a power line, please? Because we need to generate more electricity and send it to Hamburg because we could sell more electricity in Hamburg and we could make more money on our farms. They don't do that in Germany because the utility doesn't want to build this power line. Why should the utility build a power line that's going to take electricity away from their market? So these farmers are going to build their own power line. That's what this can do. It can create an opportunity and a faith in yourself that you can do this, you can do big things. When you ask one of these northern German farmers, so why are you developing this wind energy? He said, well, why not? It's mine. Why should I let anybody else develop it? It's mine. I want to profit from it. Yes, I know if I could lose my investment, I'll lose my shirt. But I'm careful. I'm a good farmer. I take risk every day. I know what the wind is like here because I've been living here for 30 years. We get good prices for electricity. It's a reasonable risk. That's the risk I want to take for me and my community and my family. So here's an example of the opportunity that we can create for our young people and for generations to come. This is a young man. He doesn't have a PhD, he doesn't have a fancy degree or anything. He's gone to college, a community college. He's technically trained. And he took me to this wind farm, solar farm on the border with Denmark. It's been a very long day. I'm running out of juice here. On the border with Denmark, and he's almost apologetic. He said, well, this is only a 2.6 megawatt wind farm. And I'm all excited. I'm taking pictures all over the place. I said, this is wonderful. I said, but we're going to do 20 megawatts this year. This project was built by farmers in this community. It's owned by the farmers in that community. 2.6 megawatt. They're almost embarrassed to tell you it's so small. Now, how many megawatts do we have in Alberta? Oh, better not know. It's better not to know. It's too embarrassing. Never underestimate the ingenuity of farmers. If farmers are given half a chance, they'll make this stuff work. If your barn doesn't face south, they'll figure out a way to make it work. And I think it's very important. This is particularly a telling statistic for you. This is a county in North Germany, near the Danish border, called Nordfriesland. And this county is only 0.3% of the land area of Alberta. The farmers there have installed 560 megawatts of wind, and they own that. Some are cooperatives, some are limited partnerships, some the farmers just own outright. They produce 1.3 terawatt hours of electricity per year, roughly equivalent to 2% of Alberta's total generation, or equivalent to all the wind energy development you've done in the last 20 years. Just the farmers in this one little corner of Germany. So I would say, next time you need a speaker, don't ask me to come from California. We're nothing to emulate. Ask one of these farmers to come over. Then you'll really get fired up. So community power is about faith in yourself and in your community that we can do this. We don't have to be German. We don't have to be French. We don't have to be Danish. We can do this in North America, whether we're Yankees or Canadians. But we do have problems here. We have a piecemeal policy approach which is too slow. We have the renewable portfolio standard for wind, subsidies for solar, and of course, in North America, we believe in cheap electricity today and to hell with the price tomorrow. That's our official policy in both Canada and the United States. We're taking tremendous risk of the cost of electricity in the future by demanding that electricity be cheap today. And that's the unspoken contract that we have in North America. And of course, we're not ambitious in North America. I mean, you keep reading press releases out of California. I'm from California, and I can tell you one thing we can do in California really well. We can write a hell of a press release. So, California, we have a 20% renewable target. Colorado has a 30% target. Los Angeles, there's a big debate in Los Angeles about having a feed-in tariff in Los Angeles. For 3% of the supply. Why bother? Why get all excited and upset? For 3%, we could do something else. You know, we could all go have a beer. Oregon's been bragging about 25 megawatt program for solar PV. When one little company of farmers does 20 megawatts per year in Germany. I mean, it's just a farce. So we have policies that are only solar only or wind only, typically reflect a timidity and lack of vision. It's not going to get us where we go. If we really want renewables, we have to get started with policies that really do work. These renewable tariffs are developing political momentum across the North American continent. This is Toronto with the Trek turbine downtown. And as Tim said, a few years ago, not only was I called nuts in Canada, I was, of course, called nuts in my own country by some very senior people in a previous government who stood up in a meeting like this, just furious, and said, "You are absolutely nuts," and then ran out of the room. And so don't do that, because it's very embarrassing to me. But at the time, I was quite upset. But later, I realized that this is the kind of man I've been fighting in my career for 30 years. And actually, it's one of my proudest accomplishments that he thinks I'm nuts, because I do want to convince him that I am nuts, and we're going to do this, and there will be the people sitting outside. So we do have a possibility of doing this. There's a growing trend now here in North America and in the developing world. China, India, Mongolia, Slovenia, Bulgaria, Malaysia, the Philippines. Where's Canada? Where's Alberta? Where's the United States? Where's California? So there's an explosion of interest across the continent. Groups active both in Canada and the United States. The public's way out in front. That's evidenced by your coming here tonight to hear Yankee talk about this stuff. Well, I think we've reached a tipping point. I think we're going to be seeing some major changes here in North America. We have interest in these feed-in tariffs from Nova Scotia to British Columbia, from Washington State to Florida, mind you, Vermont to California, and of course, possibly in our U.S. Congress, a completely dysfunctional government. Of course, you wouldn't know anything about that in Canada, about your federal government, no.